Making sure we have all the parts, here's the number 1 piece. We should have 2 of these number 2 pieces. For number 3, we have 2 of these metal pieces. There's also 2 number 4s, which each have 4 holes in this direction and then 2 more down here. And there's 2 number 5s as well that look a lot like the number 4s. The only discernible difference is the orientation of these holes in relationship to this piece here. When I put the ends of them together like this, number 5 and number 4 respectively, the holes on number 5 face this way and the holes on number 4 face this way. There are 2 number 6s. 7 and 8 both kind of look alike. The difference just being the orientation of this nook right here. You can see that when they're laid down flat like this, they have a different orientation. This one's number 7 and this one's number 8. 9 is our fabric drawer and 10 is its insert. We should also get a bunch of hardware. In the red bag, we'll find bag A with 5 M6 40mm bolts, and these look like that. Bag B should have 5 M6 25mm bolts, 5 of them that look like that. C should have 13 M6 bolts. These ones are 12mm, getting smaller. D has 9 M5 bolts. Those are 40mm. Finally, something new to look at. And then E is going to be the charging port that we're going to put on the nightstand. F has 2 M4 bolts that are 10mm. Real little things, careful not to lose them. G has the handle for the drawer along with 2 more of those M4 bolts that are 10mm. And those are going to get screwed into this part of that handle. H has the foot pads. These have an M6 thread and they are 15mm long. Bag I has our tools, which is 2 Allen wrenches and a tiny Phillips screwdriver. For the first step, we need our 2 number 4s, our 2 number 5s. We need hardware bag H, and we'll grab all 4 of the little foot pads from there. Now we'll see that 4 and 5 each have a side that look like this and one side that looks like this. We're going to take our foot pads and screw them into those holes right there, 1 into each of them. Now our 4s and 5s should all have foot pads on them. And for the next part, we need 1 of the number 3s and our number 7. We can also go to hardware bag C and grab 6 of our little bolts. Now that we have these foot pads on our number 4s, we're going to come up to this hole right here. And we're going to align our number 7 piece so that these holes here will line up over top of these holes like so. Then we can take one of our bolts and you can just start that one by hand. Now we'll go to our other number 4 and do the same thing over top of that hole by placing the other hole on our number 7 over top of it. And we can just start those by hand. Eventually it should look like a capital H, but we don't need to tighten it up all the way yet. Because we're going to take our number 3 piece here, and we're going to try to drop it over top of the H that we've made right here. The key here is to make sure that these holes on number 3 are facing outward in this direction on the same side that you'll find the end of this bracket. You'll see on the other side that it has the open bracket, and that's where I don't have the holes there. They are on the inside right here. Now we're going to start all 4 of those holes by hand with our mini bolts here. Now we can grab the larger of our 2 Allen wrenches and tighten up all 6 of those bolts that we've just installed by hand. Now we should have a nice sturdy piece looking like this. Now we'll need our 2 number 5 pieces, the other number 3 piece, grab the C hardware bag, and 6 more of the same mini bolts we just used. Our number 8 bar, find this side of our number 5 and come to this hole right here. Take our number 8 and place it over top of that hole. Now we can take one of our mini bolts and we can just start that by hand. Now do the same thing to the other side over here by taking this end of the other number 5 and coming to this hole right here and then aligning it with this part of our number 8 like so. Just start that by hand. Grab the larger of the 2 Allen wrenches and tighten them up just enough so they stay in the letter H, but they don't have to be tightened up all the way yet. And we're going to take our number 3 and drop it onto that H. And make sure that these holes in number 3 are dropping onto that H like this so that the holes open back towards this closed end of the bracket here. That way we can take one of our mini bolts here and start this attachment. And you can just start those by hand again, all 4 of them. And then grab our Allen wrench and tighten up all 6 of those bolts that we just started by hand. And now we should have a second sturdy piece looking like this. For the next step, let's grab our 2 number 6s, go to hardware bag A, and grab 4 of these larger bolts here. Now we're going to connect these 2 pieces that we already made with those 2 number 6s. First, we're going to set them next to each other so that these brackets are on the inside of it. We're going to connect all these pieces by taking one of these first, and then taking one of our large bolts here, and we're going to put it through this hole up here on the top. And it should be looking like this so that the bolt's sticking out on the same side that the bracket is also protruding out. Now we're going to take one of our number 6s and screw the end of it onto that bolt there. We don't have to tighten that up all the way yet, but once that's screwed on, then we'll come down to the other end of it and we'll grab the other piece that looks like this. We'll make sure that both of those brackets right there in the middle are aligned towards the inside before we take another one of our large bolts, put it through that hole in the corner there, and screw it into the end of number 6. And you can start that by hand. And the key here is to make sure that the holes on number 6 are vertical so we can see it facing downwards there. Now we'll take our other number 6 and we're going to do the same thing on the other end of what we're building here. So we take one of our larger bolts, put it through that corner hole there, screw on our other number 6, come down to the other corner with the last of our 4 bolts, put it through that hole, and screw it into the other end of number 6. Now we should take our larger Allen wrench and tighten up all 4 of those bolts. Now we should have a nice solid skeleton looking like this. Again, make sure that these holes on your number 6s are vertical. Now we're going to take one of our number 2 boards, go to hardware bag D, and grab 4 of these screws. Now we'll see that these number 2 boards are rectangles. So we're going to find the shorter side of the rectangle and go to the edge here. And we'll see that in these corners they have holes like this. And those are in all 4 corners. 2 on this side and 2 on the other. On what we've assembled so far, we have matching holes on these poles here. And of course, similar holes over here. So we're going to take our number 2 board and line it up with those holes. And then we're going to put our screws through there and then tighten them into the wood. It's not easy to do by hand at first, but you can get it in a little bit. So let's do that to all 4 of them. Now we can grab the smaller of the 2 Allen wrenches and tighten all 4 of those up. So far, our nightstand should be looking like this. Now we grab our other number 2 board, go back to hardware bag D, and get 4 more of these screws here. Now we're going to repeat the process we just did with this board right here, except with the hole that's down here. So those holes will be right here and right here below our cross beam. So again, find the holes in the corners of our number 2 and line it up with those holes like this. Start them by hand, and then get our smaller Allen wrench and tighten those all up. Now our nightstand should be looking like this. Now we'll grab our number 1 board and go to hardware bag B, where we will grab 4 of those bolts. And we have holes right here on the top of our nightstand, where we are going to take one of our bolts and put it up through there. Where on the bottom side of board number 1, it is going to attach to this piece here. To ensure that we have this laid down properly on top of our nightstand like this, let's make sure that this port right here is on the opposite side where the open side of this bracket is right here. That's because this bracket opens up for the drawer, and we want this port opening up in the back, so we'll set it down on top like that. Now we can drive those 4 screws up into the top of the table. And we can start those by hand, and then grab our larger Allen wrench and tighten them up. And now our nightstand should be looking like this. Grab this electrical housing unit and let's drop it through this back port here so that our USB ports are facing to the right. Now we go to hardware bag F and we grab the 2 little screws in there. And we get the little screwdriver they gave us and we screw them in right here and right here. Grab your drawer, open it up, grab the insert and insert. And then push down to make sure it's tight. Get hardware bag G, get the handle, and the 2 little screws in that bag. We're gonna find these 2 holes here on the front of our drawer and align the handle with the outside and put the screws through the inside. And then get your screwdriver and screw those into the handle. Now take your drawer and slide it into the bracket.